Elohim Nishpat. Akmasai Tishpat Odom, Nei Rishoyim Tisrisam. Shiftu Dom Yosef Oni Rosh Tziduk. Halfu Dal Ve'elyin Yad Rishoyim Hatziduk. Le'yodu ve'le'yavinu B'chashecho Yisalochu. Yimetu Kol Moizei Oretz. Ani Amarti Elohim Atem Ubnei Elyin Kulchem. Ochein Ka'odem Temusun Ukachad Hasorim Tipenu. Kum Elohim Shopta Haaretz Kata Simcha B'chol Hamayim. Okay, we're learning Moshiach Geaulah, and your booklets. Get this. Okay. So we're doing the review. Everyone has a booklet? Everyone needs? Did we finish all the questions? No. Okay, so I think we did up until and through number 9, we're up to number 10. Question number 10, how will Moshiach influence the Gentiles? What? Yeah. Just like he'll influence the Yidden, that we should serve Hashem the way we're supposed to serve Hashem, he'll influence the nations of the world that they should serve Hashem the way they're supposed to serve Hashem, which is observing the Sheva mitzvahs, the 7 mitzvahs. If Mashiach is killed, can he still be Mashiach? No, that's what the Rambam writes, and he brings the source is the story with Rabbi Akiva, that once Ben Kuziba was killed, even though they all believed that he was Mashiach, but once he was killed, that was no longer a possibility.
Is there a difference between being killed and dying?
Yes, that's going to be soon there. Question number 13.
Okay.
If Mashiach was defeated, which means his accomplishments were no longer victorious, so he failed, can he still be Mashiach? Everything he accomplished, let's say, fell apart. Even if he didn't die, but everything that he accomplished, which made him successful and made us think he's Mashiach, everything sort of went back. Right, so the Rambam writes, it's only if he succeeded with everything that he did. But if it fell apart, things that he did, I think I gave you the example, let's say Avraham Avinu and Sarah, it says that they inspired tens of thousands of people to believe in Hashem. And then they lost it, they all went back to believe in idols. And there's a reason why that happened, because it was before the Torah was given, but still it means that what they accomplished, even though it was an amazing thing, it was only temporary. It wasn't a real permanent success. So if Mashiach wasn't successful, then he also came to Mashiach. Number 13, if Mashiach was not killed but died a natural death, and his accomplishments still continue to be successful, can he still be Mashiach?
Yes.
The answer is yes, because the Rambam only writes if he was killed. Someone once said to me, what's the difference when it says killed or died? It's all the same. It means that he died. So no, killed means one thing and died means another thing. And I gave him an example. There's a Mishnah that says a woman who is married cannot marry anyone else, cannot be and marry any other person unless only under two circumstances. One is that she receives a get, a divorce. The other is that her husband died. Could you imagine if you write in the Mishnah, one is if she receives a get, and the other is if her husband was killed. Would that make any sense? Has nothing to do with being killed. If, God forbid, he passes away a natural death, he passes away because of an illness, passes away because of some other reason, it's still, she's no longer married to that person. So there is a difference between killed and died. And especially Rambam. Men learn Rambam, more in depth. And there's books which are called Klolia Rambam, which means rules how to study Rambam. And one of the rules are that the Rambam was very, very precise with his wording. We can build mountains on this precise word that the Rambam uses. Certainly something so clear that if I would write it, I also wouldn't write the word killed. If the halacha would be anyone that passes away, I wouldn't write the word killed, I would write died. There are 3 points. Why was the head of Christianity certainly not Moshiach? What does the Rambam say?
He changed the Torah.
So even the reason of killed, the Rambam doesn't write. I'll soon tell you why. But you said number one, he changed the Torah to
He made a whole new.
what?
He made a whole new.
Yeah, that's all part of that. He changed the Torah. It's one.
There's two other big reasons. One, enough time has passed. There's like if someone dies naturally, then there's like a time limit to come back with Moshiach. And two, he also didn't keep all the mitzvahs, and Moshiach has to keep all the mitzvahs.
Right. So that would all be part of one. The first reason that Moshiach has to strengthen Torah, and he did the opposite. He changed Torah. But there's 2 more reasons. I'm talking about the reasons that the Rambam gives.
Also, instead of unite the Jews, he actually separated them.
Instead of he's supposed to bring all the Jews together to Eretz Yisrael. As a result of this religion, Jews were actually scattered, spread out to different countries, taken away in exile. That's the second reason. And what's the third reason?
He also made the Jews die.
Right. Mashiach is supposed to bring salvation, and he brought death and suffering to Jews, the 3 things, which are the opposite. So why doesn't he give the 4th reason that he was killed? The answer is very simple. When you say someone's not Mashiach because he was killed, it means like this. In essence, he has the criteria to be Mashiach, but being that he was killed, he can't be Mashiach. The Rambam was saying something else. He didn't even begin to satisfy the conditions and the criteria to be Mashiach. I'm saying the other 3 reasons the Rambam gives explains that he doesn't even begin to fit the description of Mashiach. If you say, because he was killed, those words mean, rarely is Mashiach. Like Bar Kokhba, he had qualities to be Mashiach. But because he was killed, he couldn't be Mashiach anymore. If you say that about a person, you're implying that they have all the qualities, and only the fact that he was killed will change it. Why is the head of Islam also certainly not Mashiach? He changes in Torah, and he said that Torah doesn't apply today. What was a positive outcome of Christianity and Islam? What the Rambam writes.
It's like it made people more because then many people, I guess, were idol worshippers, so it made people more aware of the
Right. So first of all, it brought them the awareness to believe in one God, and it brought them an awareness to believe in Mashiach. Right. So they heard about Mashiach, they heard about Torah and mitzvahs of Hashem, except they heard a different version. When Mashiach will come, he'll tell them this part is true and this part was misleading and it's not true. Okay, now we'll go back to the Rambam and we're going to start chapter 12. In this booklet, you have chapter 12. We finished chapter 11. Let's start chapter 12. So I mentioned to you the difference between chapter 11 and chapter 12. In chapter 11 speaks primarily about the person, and chapter 12 speaks about the era. Yeah.
Today we need to tell Christian and Islam about Moshiach.
Do we need to tell? No, we don't have to teach them about Moshiach. We have to teach them, if anything, about the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach.
Okay. But we need to learn about
What?
mitzvot b'nei Noach.
Right. We're going to talk about that later. The 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach. What does it mean to teach the nations? Why wasn't it done before? Why are we doing it now? How do you expect them to believe such things, but they actually do? And we'll go into that in the Friday class. Remember, we said that on Thursday we learned Mashiach from the Rambam and Gemara, and Friday we'll do Mashiach from the Rebbe Sichos. So chapter 12 talks about the time, the era of Mashiach. It starts like this: do not presume, don't even think that the Yemais Mashiach, the days of Mashiach, means that the nature of the world will change, or there will be some innovation in the work of creation. The world will continue according to its pattern, the way we see it today. It's not, we're going to have like a different kind of universe. Although it says in Yeshayahu, the wolf will dwell with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the young goat. For a wolf to lay down with a lamb and have lunch together, that's pretty miraculous. For a leopard to lie down with a young goat is also miraculous. Normally one will devour the other. So how could we say things will be natural? So the Rambam writes, these words are a metaphor and a parable. The interpretation of these prophecies as follows. Israel, meaning the nation of Israel, will dwell securely together with those Gentiles, the wicked Gentiles, who were like a wolf or a leopard in the prophecy. In other words, these were the nations that tried to swallow us up, tried to destroy us. Just like a wolf tries to destroy the lamb, and just like a leopard tries to destroy the goat, that's how they try to destroy us. Mashiach comes, they won't be destroying us. So I just want to show you the pasuk in the Tanakh where it says, and on the other side of the page you see something also interesting that actually it's already happening. I'll show it to you. Okay. You mind passing it around? Thank you. I'll give Shira a break a little bit. On one side of the page, you see where we read this Haftorah on Pesach. These are the words of what it would look like when Mashiach comes. Yes?
I just want to ask, so it says the nature of the world will, that it will not change, right? So does that mean that we'll be living in the same kind of world that we are now?
That's what it says, yeah.
But then won't everything change?
Right, so we're going to learn about this, that there will be different stages of Mashiach's coming. And the Rambam is referring to the first stage. Look what it says here. The wolf will dwell with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the young goat, together with the calf. The young lion and the ox and a little child will lead them. Won't be afraid. The cow and the bear will graze. The young will lie down together. The lion will eat straw like an ox, not other animals. The nursing child will play on the hole of an asp. Asp is a kind of a snake. The weaning child, a little baby, will stretch his hand over the den of a viper snake. They shall do no evil, nor shall they destroy anything in my holy mountain. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem. On the other side of the page, this is a few years ago, I thought it was interesting. It took a picture. It says a strange fable. What you're seeing in the picture is a leopard right? A lion, no, a lion and a calf.
Do you have more?
Here, this picture.
Do you have more?
You don't have?
Mm.
Here. And right next to it, they quote the Pasuk Yeshayahu. So, you see there, right? That this is a prophecy of the future. And you read the article that actually the lion was taking care of this little baby for a few days, and then another animal came and unfortunately devoured it. But that means that the nature could be different. That Hashem will make a lion actually not be a predator, and so on. So here it says the nature won't change. On the other hand, we're always used to think of Mashiach, miracles, miracles, miracles. So we're going to learn about this more, that there will be many stages in Mashiach's coming. Like every while there'll be a more advanced stage, And what the Rambam is writing is that the first stage, and by the way, it doesn't mean it can't be. He's saying it doesn't necessarily have to be miracles. In fact, there's another place, not in this Sefer of Halacha, but another place, the Rambam writes, what I wrote in this book, that it's natural, and that it means a metaphor, doesn't have to mean a metaphor. It could actually also happen literally, that these animals will get along with the other animals. So the second stage, then we'll see more. Like the Rambam has to believe in miracles and say miracles. Why? Because one of the things we believe in is Tchias HaMesim. There's no bigger miracle, no bigger deviation from nature than the dead coming back to life. So obviously there are going to be stages. And what the Rambam is saying is the early stage. To a certain extent, the world we are in today is somewhat of that beginning stage, where Jews are no longer, you'll soon see, Jews are no longer being persecuted, Jews are living more free. Things are happening today which are already part of that stage. So let's turn the page. And it brings proof that the non-Jews are compared to these animals. There's a passage where it says, Zev Arabes Yishadadem Nomar Sheked Alareim. The wolf comes from the wilderness, shall spoil them, and a leopard shall stalk their cities. And it's not talking about animals, that means those nations. They will return to the true faith. All these nations will change. They will no longer steal or destroy. They will eat permitted food, and there'll be peace with Israel. Like it says, the lion will eat straw like an ox. Doesn't mean a physical lion will eat straw. It means that these animals will only eat what's permissible. They won't steal things from others, and especially from the Jewish people. Similarly, other messianic prophecies of this nature are metaphors. In the messianic era, everyone will realize which matters were implied by these metaphors and which illusions they contain. So what is Mashiach? What will be that era if there's no miracles? Amr Chachamim, our sages said, there will be no difference between the current age and Messianic age except our subjugation to the Gentile kingdoms, which means that we'll no longer be under their rule, that they will control us and definitely not persecute us and not do the thing that was done throughout the Geaulah, when Jews were in Rome, when Jews were in France, when Jews were in Italy, when Jews were in Spain. So again, we're already witnessing and experiencing something similar to this, that we now live in countries that we have all the rights like any other citizen in any other country. We can learn Torah, do mitzvahs, walk through the streets in a way like anyone else can do this in any other country. And the official country officially all, is actually protecting us. What you just saw in Shivas Simchas Beis HaSheva, for example, this is, we take it for granted, but really it's Mashiach. Try to imagine when in history was it that which country would block all their streets and say, Jews, go out and dance in the streets, do whatever you want. And everybody else can't pass, they can't go through. It's not normal. Even today, they can't do this in every place. A lot of places do it. They do it in Brooklyn, they're in certain countries. But the fact that the government, the city officials should block the streets and say, we're giving this time for 7 days or 8 days that Jewish people could celebrate their holiday, and we block the traffic for everybody else. And there's going to be noise and singing and music till late hours of the night. That is part of what's going to be when Mashiach comes. That's what we're witnessing. The simple interpretation of the prophets. Now the Rambam is going in, so what's going to happen? Remember, this is talking about what's going to happen in that time. The simple interpretation of the prophet's words appear to be like this. There's going to be a war of Gog and Magog will take place at the beginning of the era of Mashiach age. In Hebrew, it's called Yemais HaMashiach, which means the times or the days of Mashiach. Who is Gog and who is Magog? We still don't know.
Is this in Mashiach?
What?
No.
The Rebbe once said that we're already in Yemais HaMashiach. The things that are happening today, we're already in that stage. Not complete, but already in that stage. Different things that we're seeing now.
Oh, so that means we're in the days of Mashiach?
Yeah, days of Mashiach. It's not redemption yet, but we can say the term, these are the days of Mashiach.
What's the difference between that and redemption?
Take, for example, you see, one of the things we can always use as an example, and that would be something which we compare to is Mitzrayim. When the Jews were in Mitzrayim, when Moshe Rabbeinu came and said, time has come, my friends, we're going out of Egypt. What happened? They didn't go so fast. They were still there. And we'll have a lot of talk about this in the next class. I don't mean this Friday, but in the other classes. What happened was that it says Paro made them work even harder than before. And he said, what's with these Jews? They're dreaming about leaving. The reason why they're dreaming about leaving is because they're not working hard enough. So they have too much time to dream. Let's make them work even harder. So actually the Golas became worse. And they were still slaves. And Moshe Rabbeinu is telling them, we're going out soon, we're going out soon, we're going out soon. The Gemara says, when did it finally happen that they stopped working as slaves? That only happened Rosh Hashanah. They went out on Pesach, and 7 months before Rosh Hashanah, that's when they stopped working as slaves. But initially, when Moshe Rabbeinu came, which was much earlier, they were still slaves, and there was a stage where they were even working harder than before. So that means the time, it's called the time of redemption came, but the actual redemption didn't happen yet. And that's what Yemais HaMashiach means, the days of Mashiach. It's a time of redemption, but the actual redemption still has to happen. So the fact that Yidden are now moving from different places of the world towards Eretz Yisrael, which was something that never happened like this before. There are millions of Jews living in Eretz Yisrael. All these things that are going on now are all unprecedented, and many other things, miracles that are happening. So it shows that we're in a special time. But redemption is when we'll have a Beis HaMikdash. So it's called the days of Mashiach. Another thing is that there'll be a war. So I remember telling you, so does that mean we have to expect a war, Chas v'shalom? First of all, there are wars. But the war of Gog and Magog is supposed to be some really deadly war. Do we have to expect it? So I think I told you once, but this will come up a few more times also in Gemara. Any prophecy about something negative happening doesn't necessarily have to happen, even though it's a prophecy. Why? Because there's a rule that if Hashem tells a Navi, a prophet, that a certain thing is going to happen which is negative, it could be reversed. And the example is the story of Yonah the prophet that we read on Yom Kippur. He came with the prophecy and he told the people of Nineveh, this city in 40 days is going to be destroyed. What happened? They did tshuva and it didn't happen. The prophecy didn't happen. So we learn from this that a prophecy for the negative could be reversed. A prophecy for the positive, that can be reversed. So if a Navi comes along and says, this and this positive thing is going to happen, I'm saying this to you as a prophecy, and then it doesn't happen, that is usually a sign that he's not a true prophet, he's a false prophet. So the war of Gog and Magog is a negative thing. It's war, bloodshed. It doesn't matter if it's Jews or non-Jews. Bloodshed is bloodshed.
Positive. It
Has to happen.
But if they do like the opposite, no tshuva.
Not if it's a nevuah. Once it's a nevuah, it has to happen.
Because
The
if
good
either
one.
it would be like
Right.
pushed off or positive.
No, but then it's prophecy usually is. It depends what the prophecy is. If the prophecy is that something's going to happen, but there's no time given, it can be pushed off. But as the prophecy is that it's going to happen next week, Tuesday, if that's part of the prophecy, the actual date, then no matter what is going to happen, if it's a prophecy, if it's pronounced as a prophecy. This is in the Chumash itself, it says that if a Navi says something as a prophecy and it's not fulfilled, you should know that he's a false prophet. Another thing is Hashem is going to send a Navi, a prophet. Again, this is before the actual redemption, to prepare us, like it says, Hine anechi sholech lachem es Elio hanavi. So this is something I'm going to show you again. I want to show you the pasuk, the full pasuk inside. First of all, this. Okay, now we'll. What?
הנבואה שלו התקיימה זה היה...
And this, give this up.
אוקיי. בנלווה?
No, that was Yoina.
בנלווה.
This is a chapter 3 in Malachi. Malachi is the last of all the books of prophets. And it says these words, Behold, I send my angel, and he will clear a way before me. And then suddenly Hashem, whom you seek, will come to his Beis HaMikdash. The angel of the covenant whom you desire is coming. This is the words of Hashem. And who is he referring to? So the end, this is chapter 3, pasuk 1. Turn the page, this is at the end, it says, I will send you Elio, the Navi, before the coming of the great and awesome day of Hashem. So from this we know that Moshiach and Elio Navi come together. Elio Navi will sort of announce that Moshiach is coming. So the second sheet I gave you is from the benching. When we do Birchat Hamazon, we say clearly, Hashem, may the merciful one send us Eliyahu the Navi, may he be remembered for the good, and let him bring us good tidings, deliverance, and consolation, because he's going to let us know about Moshiach coming. Yep.
So if Eliyahu has come with Moshiach, why they thought so? Before, and why they believe that prophecy is Moshiach?
A good question. So we're
That's a
going
good
to.
question.
The answer to that will be in a few lines.
Okay.
So the Rambam will talk a little bit more about it, and then we'll see the answer. If you want, you can take a look right now. You can take a peek. Which means not everyone agrees that he's going to come before. Everyone agrees he's going to come, and he's going to tell us good news. But it's not clear what he will be coming to tell us. Will he come to tell us Mashiach is coming? Will he come to tell us the Beis HaMikdash is going to be built soon? Or will he come to tell us, for example, that tomorrow the dead are going to start rising, get ready? In other words, this is Baruch, that he's coming to tell us Besurah Tovot. But which one it is, it's not clear. And one of the proofs is actually the story of Bar Kochva. Here they believed he was Mashiach, and in that case, Eliyahu Navi didn't come before. That means it's not 100% clear that he has to come before. He could come before, and he could come at a later stage. For example, let's say Mashiach comes and everything is going well. He's going to come to tell us that now we're up to the stage that the Beis HaMikdash is going to be built. Or even later, he might come at a point and say, now we're up to the stage that the dead will start coming back. So therefore, it means we're not 100% clear at which point Eliyahu will come. Yesh min hachachamim, right?
I mean, because Moses said something before.
Right, but he says only yesh min hachacham, which means not everybody agrees. Not everybody's sure about it. One of the things which make things confusing when it comes to the subject of Mashiach is the different sources. One says it'll happen one way, one says, do you remember the answer we gave to that? I think we spoke about it in this class. The typical classical example is we're going to learn the Gemara, where it says Moshiach is going to come riding on a donkey. And then the Gemara says, but in another place it says Moshiach is going to come on a cloud. So which is it? Is he going to come on a donkey or is he going to come on a cloud? So the Gemara answers, it depends. If we merit, he'll come in a cloud. If we don't merit, he'll come anyway, but he'll come riding on a donkey. So what does it mean? It means both possibilities are both true. But it depends on us. At the time when Mashiach comes, how will we be davening, learning, giving tzedakah, doing mitzvahs? Will we merit that Mashiach should come in some sort of super duper miraculous way and he'll come flying in on a donkey, on a cloud? Or we won't and he'll come in a more natural way, like it says, a poor person riding on a donkey. So this is sort of a model, this is sort of an example of all other different contradictions. That both could be true, but it depends a lot on us, how and what we will be doing to bring Mashiach. If we act this way, Mashiach will come one way. We act that way, he might come in a different way. And that's one of the reasons why it's not clear, because this is free choice. Hashem left it up to us how we're going to act at that time. The other famous example is, in one place it says Mashiach is going to come Be'ita, which means a designated time. In another place it says Achishana, which means I will make him come before the time. So the Gemara says, isn't it a contradiction? And the Gemara answers, no. If we merit, it'll come before the time. If not, it'll come in a designated time. So this is an answer to a lot of different questions.
But we don't care how Moshiach come. We want he come.
That's true, as long as he comes. That's true.
Yeah.
Now, what is going to be the purpose of Eliyahu Hanavi? Let's go back to that line. The Einai Ba is not coming to declare who's pure, who's impure. When he says pure or impure, he means to say in terms of their identity, or to declare the impure pure. He will not dispute the lineage of those presumed to be of proper pedigree, nor will he establish the pedigrees of those who are lineages presumed blemished. Rather, he will establish peace within the world. He will turn their hearts of the fathers to the children. The Heishiv Lev Avis Al Banim. So, basically, one would think Mashiach is going to come, we're going to find out things that maybe generations back, this person was born from a marriage which was not appropriate. And as a result of that, their lineage is something wrong with it, but no one knows about it. And Eliyahu is going to come and say, I'm going to reveal to you that this and this person has something wrong. Or this and this family, or this and this person, everything is perfectly right. So no, that's not going to be his purpose. In fact, it's irrelevant. Whatever happened generations ago will not affect anyone now. So what will be his purpose? His purpose will actually be the opposite. His purpose will be to bring unity amongst the Jewish people. That'll be his purpose, to unite Yidden. So there's a pasuk that says, he will bring the hearts of the parents to the children, and the hearts of the children turn to the parents. That he'll be here to bring peace between parents and children, and also peace between everyone in the world together. That'll be his main purpose and his main function. And then the Rambam adds, all these things that we're talking about now, lo yada adam, nobody really knows how exactly it's going to be until it'll actually happen. Shedvarim, stumim, eitzel nevim. Even by the Nevi'im, these things were considered hidden. That they're hidden matters. Gama chachamim ein lem kabbalah b'dvarim elu. Even the wise men, meaning the sages, don't have a clear tradition about these things. Elul fi hechra psukim. They go by what it says in the psukim, and it's not clear. So again, I'm reiterating, how come it's not clear? The Torah is here to make everything clear. Why in this case is it not clear? So this is the answer, because this and these details depend on our schus and our merits. And that can't be clear because that means that it will no longer be left to our free choice. So therefore Hashem never spelled it out. Hashem just said, this is a possibility and that's a possibility. Mashiach can come in a way that the animals will literally live peacefully together, or it could be a metaphor. And which way it'll be depends on us, how we will conduct ourselves at that time. The fikr, that's why yesh lehem machlekas b'dvarim elu. There's so many different opinions. V'al kapanim ein siddur havayis dvarim elu v'leidu dukeim ikar b'das. Knowing the details of the order, for example, which will happen first, this will happen first, or that'll happen first, it's not something which is a primary thing in our faith. When you read the next line, it looks a little bit shocking, so we'll have to explain that. Do we have time? Yes. Look what the Rambam says. A person shouldn't get heavily involved in these things. He shouldn't elaborate much on these medrashim. Don't make this into a major and primary part of your faith. It doesn't bring you fear of God. It doesn't bring you love of God, because we really don't know how things are going to happen. So when you read this, you're shocked. So what are we all doing now? Talking so much about this is going to happen, that's going to happen. The Rambam just says, don't do it. Don't talk about it. It's not a major part of Judaism. But now we can ask even a bigger question. The bigger question is the Rambam just is spending here 2 chapters on the subject of Mashiach, and then he says, don't spend time on this because it's not a major part of Judaism. He's writing all about it. And it's almost like contradicting himself. Plus, we know there are 13 principles of belief. And these principles of belief are called the primary basis of Judaism. Belief in Hashem, belief in the Torah. And one of them is belief in Moshiach. So how could the Rambam say it's not a major part of our religion? It is. It's one of the principles of faith, one of the pillars that all of Yiddishkeit rests on. So the answer is, the Rambam doesn't say that Mashiach and belief in Mashiach is not a major principle in Yiddishkeit. Look at the words. Look what he says. Regardless of the debate, neither the order of the occurrence of these events nor their precise details, that's not part of the fundamental principle. That Moshiach is coming is a fundamental principle. That he's going to be a tzaddik is a fundamental principle. That he's going to be someone who has all this criteria. All these things he said before, they are fundamental principles. What he's referring to now is the details, the little details and the order of things. That's not a fundamental principle, because really it can happen in so many different ways. Let me see if I know how to do it now.
There's this, it says dismiss.
It says dismiss. And he's dismissing me instead of me dismissing him.
This one?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I guess he wants one of you to do it. Okay, fine. So the details are not a major part of Yiddishkeit, because the details could really be one way or another. And therefore, you can't say that's the major part of Yiddishkeit. It could come earlier or it could come later. We don't know. But the idea that Eli Navi is coming, that's a major part of Yiddishkeit. The base of English will be built, that's a major part of Yiddishkeit. So all the things that are written here, the reason why he writes it, because they are major. And when it comes to the details or the order of things, that's not a major part of Yiddishkeit. So why are we talking so much about the details? So the answer is, the Rambam says, don't go into it, right? But let me ask you a question. When Mashiach comes, and we're actually going out of Geaulah, we're already on the plane, we're leaving, we're flying to Eretz Yisrael, would it be okay to talk about these details or not?
What?
In other words, at the time that it's going to happen, and they're going to build the base of English, and people are going to start talking. So how are we going to build it? When are we going to do it? What time? Where's it going to start? Who's going to be involved? Who's in charge? Is it going to be okay to talk about it then, or we should also not talk about these things?
We're talking
Oh,
about
you
it.
do need to, no?
On the way.
When it's actually going to happen,
Why not?
right? Not only why not, it's happening. Everybody's excited. Moshiach is here, building base of English. Where are we going to be? How's it going to be? What's going to happen? Well, the Rebbe is basically telling us the reason why I'm telling you now to get involved in all these details, because now it's happening. That's what the Rebbe's message is. We're not talking about something that's going to happen. We keep repeating it. The Rebbe is saying the miracles that we're witnessing, this is the process of Mashiach. Of course, we're not out of Geaulah, and we still don't have a base of English, and there's still, unfortunately, people dying every single day. Besides natural, just in war, unfortunately, from non-Jews, from anti-Semites. So we're not there yet, but we are already in the process of redemption. And therefore, now is the time that this is the time to be excited about all these things, talk about them, about Mashiach, and how is it going to happen, and what's going to be the order, simply because this is something which is taking place now. That's the difference. When the Rambam is writing this, it's about writing about the future. Even though I believe it can happen tomorrow, but right now there's nothing going on. But in our generation, things are already going on. That's the difference. Okay, to be continued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is the level one. When
Rabbi Majeski,
Yeah.
can you clarify about, wait, that question?
After the break.
Anyways,
This is Mashiach?
the influence on the, yeah, we said, okay, fine, we have an influence on the Pentecost. What is the influence on the Pentecost?
Oh, the Shav Mitzvah Noach?
It was the last booklet.
What do
Okay,
you
what
mean?
is the influence on the Pentecost when Moshiach comes?
What do you mean is the last booklet?
Finish.
In this class or a different class?
Yeah, this one. The other.
Me thing that I showed you about the other religion that they're going to change their mind. The questions.
They said yes, it will influence.
Oh.
What will influence?
Mashiach will influence the nations of the world.
How? The question is how, not
Oh, we didn't
yes
get
or
there.
no.
And from last week, it means that he will bring the nations also to do what Hashem wants, which means they will keep their Shabbat mitzvahs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When we say influence, it doesn't mean he's going to take a stick and hit everybody over the head. It means he's going to inspire people to want the right thing.